Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week are off to a fantastic start. We've got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. All right, guys, we have a really solid MLB slate on tonight, and boy, do I have a lot of picks to share with you guys today. But first, before we dive into today's picks, guys, we do have to do a quick little recap of how we fared yesterday. And look, we had the audio issues. We had to record multiple times. The vibes were just off yesterday, and the result was not a very good day. Now, between the two videos, I handed out a total of 5 picks. 2 of them didn't get graded because Jared Kelenic, although he did play, came in later in the game, and Manny Machado wasn't in the lineup. So only 3 got graded, but we did go 0-3 on those 3 picks. Really no way to sugarcoat it, guys. We had a pretty shitty day, but we have a new day today and plenty of opportunity for a bounce back. And just a fair warning to everybody, we have a very large video today. I have a whopping 8 player props to hand out. That's right. I didn't mince words. 8 player props to hand out. Normally my process, I usually have a lot of props and I kind of, it's like a movie script, or like a movie, right? Where you have the director has like a 4 or 5 hour cut and he trims it down to like 2.5 hours. For me, I usually have between 7, 8, 9, 10 props and I shave them down. But today, I just couldn't shave anything down. I loved all the props. I might be stupid, especially coming off an 0-3 day, to fire back with 8 props, but I just really couldn't take one off. So I'm going to give you guys 8 player props. There's a lot of plus money plays, a lot of value here. Fingers crossed that we have a bounce back day because we have a lot of value. If we can hit big today, guys, with all the plus money plays I have for you guys, we'll be eating well. We're talking steak and lobster, baby. Steak and lobster. Actually, comment steak and lobster down below if you're watching at this point, because that's what we're hoping to get if we win today. Like I said, I have a lot of plus money plays, a lot of picks to hand out. If we win big today, guys, we're going to be eating fine dining, some nice steak and lobster if we win today. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen. Like I said, we've got a lot to get through, so we don't have a lot of time to waste, but I do have to talk to you guys really quickly first about Outlier. Shout out to Outlier, the sponsor of today's video and all of my player prop videos here on the channel. We do have a special link down below that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Guys, if you're going to try to make money in the sports betting landscape, you got to have the proper sports betting tool by your side. There's no better one out there right now, in my opinion, than Outlier. I really do believe that. If you watch my videos, you know what Outlier can do for you guys. Go ahead and check it out. There's no cost to you guys. You try it for 7 days, and if you don't like it, which I'd be shocked if you didn't, you go ahead and cancel it. No cost to you guys at all. It consolidates everything, all the information that you need to make proper sports betting picks. It really is fantastic. So one more time, guys, link down below, 7-day free trial to try Outlier out for yourself. Special thank you to Outlier, as always, for sponsoring the videos. All right, guys. First of 8 player props. It's going to be a long video. Starting off, Mariners, Tigers, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers over 7.5 strikeouts. Our first plus money play of the day. We're going to go for plus 110 on BetMGM, plus 105 on DraftKings, and minus 102 on FanDuel. But of course, you're going to want to take the plus money odds on either BetMGM or DraftKings. As always, guys, make sure to shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. All right, data for this one's okay. The line's a little inflated at 7.5. You see he's cashed this line in 5 of his last 10 games. Still a 50% hit rate, even though the line is a bit inflated. He's averaging 7.5 strikeouts per game over the last 10 games. You go ahead and narrow the view to the last 5. He's cashed it in 4 of the last 5, including 3 straight. He's been on a tear with the strikeouts, which is the reason why that the line is so elevated. So far in 2024, just a 43% hit rate on this over, 10 out of 23 games this year. He's cashed this line an average of 7.43 strikeouts per game. Again, normally this line probably is more towards like 7 or 6.5, but it is elevated because of the matchup and the fact that he's been averaging over 7 strikeouts a game. Sportsbooks are finally catching up to Tariq Skubal. Looking at the head-to-head data, the last time he faced off with the Seattle Mariners, which was just last week, he had 9 strikeouts and what was a 6-2 win for Detroit. So that's obviously a really good sign. If we scroll down below here, you see the insights provided by Outlier. Tariq Skubal has exceeded 7.5 strikeouts in 5 of his last 6 games at home, an average of 8.2 strikeouts per game average at home over the last 6 home games. And it makes sense here why he has so much success versus Seattle. Again, 9 strikeouts last week when he played them. Seattle's batting versus left-handed pitchers. You do see strikeout percentage. Overall this year, they're bottom 3 in Major League Baseball, which obviously is very good for us. 26.2% strikeout rate. 27.6 over the last 30, although their ranking is a little bit higher. Their numbers are actually a little bit worse. But the moral of the story is this Seattle offense versus left-handed pitchers has struggled. I see their batting average. They're bottom 3 in Major League Baseball in batting average versus left-handed pitchers. So really not great numbers for them, which obviously means good numbers for us. And Tariq Skubal this year, 94th percentile, a 30.1% strikeout rate, 10.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Really impressive data there. I think he's going to pitch long in this game. I could see him going 6, maybe 7 innings. You have a Seattle offense that he he already dominated once just literally last week. I think 8 strikeouts, although it's a high mark for Tree School, I don't think it's that high. Really solid prop for plus money. Absolutely taking this play. All right, guys, one down, a whopping 7 props still to go. We've got Astros, Tampa Bay Rays for our second game here. 6:50 p.m. first pitch. We're going Alex Bregman over 1.5 total bases. And again, we have another plus money play here. Plus 130 on Bet365, plus 115 on FanDuel, plus 115 on DraftKings, and plus 103 on Underdog. So back-to-back plus money plays to kick off today's video. Last 10 games, 8 of his last 10 games, Alex Bregman has cashed the over. It's an 80% hit rate with an average of 3.1 total bases per game. He's actually cashed this in 7 consecutive games, including last night versus the Rays, where he had 4 total bases. It was a 6-1 win for Houston. And look, so far in 2024, the data is not fantastic. You see just a 43% hit rate on this over for Bregman. 49 out of 114 games this season has he actually cashed the over. But he's averaging 1.76 total bases per game, so not bad. We scroll down below here, the insights provided by Outlier. Alex Bregman has exceeded 1.5 bases in 9 straight games on the road, an average of 3.7 bases per game average over that span on the road. So Bregman's been playing very well on the road of late. We do have some key matchup stats here down below. Alex Bregman versus Shane Baz since 2018. Just 3 plate appearances, a small sample size, but still, in those 3 plate appearances, a 667 batting average. He hit off of him twice with an extra base hit in there as well. So pretty good. And if you go down below here to the splits, you see Alex Bregman, 260 batting average overall this season. Versus right-handed pitchers, did you see an increase to 277, which is obviously really good. His BABIP goes from 268 to 298. And you do see some slight drops in ISO and extra base hit percentage, but still 34.8% versus right-handed pitchers is not too bad. Now look at the Shane Baz side of things. 4.30 ERA overall with a 2.67 batting average allowed. Versus right-handed batters, smaller sample size, but you do see his ERA actually improves to 2.57, which isn't good for us. But his batting average allowed increases slightly to 2.73. He does see a drop in slugging percentage, but the most concerning part here is the extra base hit percentage allowed. You do see a drop to 13.3%, which both in the red, not really what you want to see. Again, there's a reason it's a plus money play. All the other data looks really, really good. So there's got to be a reason why it's plus money, and this right here is probably why. I'm still going to take the risk, though, because Bregman has been red hot of late. Again, 7 straight games in general. He's cashed the over, and 9 straight games on the road. He's been averaging 3.7 total bases per game over the last 9 road games. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ride with this over here for plus 115 or plus 130. You have Bet365. It's not a bad bet. All right, guys, our third prop of today's slate. We have 3 consecutive plus money plays to kick off today's video. We have the Marlins-Phillies game, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. We're going Taijuan Walker over 3.5 strikeouts here. Available on DraftKings plus 110. Also available at BetMGM for plus 105 and FanDuel for minus 102. A lot of reasons why I like this prop. Let me just start off with this. Taijuan Walker, this is his first appearance since June. You see here, the last time he pitched was June 21st. He just got activated off of, he was in a rehab assignment in the minor leagues, just got activated for today. So first time pitching in almost 2 months. Keep that in mind. But still overall a really solid prop. Again, this is all pre-injury, and the line is also low because of the fact that he's coming back from injury and whatnot, so they set the line pretty low here at 3.5. But at this 3.5 line, you do see cash in 8 of his last 10 games, an average of 4.3 strikeouts per game. So far in 2024, an 80% hit rate as well. Again, there's only pitched 10 games this season, so 8 out of 10. But even if you stretch this out to the last 20 games, which of course goes back to last year, still pretty solid. 70% hit rate with an average of 4.15 strikeouts per game. That's 14 of his last 20 games. And in the head-to-head data, each of the last 2 times he's faced off with the Miami Marlins, he did cash the over, including the one time he played them this year back in May. He had 4 strikeouts and what was an 8-3 win for the Phillies. So when looking at the overall data, it looks pretty good for the most part. Again, you have to keep in mind he is coming off injury, hasn't pitched in almost 2 months, in a major league game in almost 2 months. So you have to keep all that in mind. But if you scroll down below here, the big thing also is the Miami batting versus right-handed pitchers. You see the strikeout percentage. Over the last 30 games, they are bottom 6 in Major League Baseball in strikeout percentage. Overall on the season, they are bottom half of the league at 23.4, but over the last 30 games in particular, they've been pretty bad at 24%. Of course, Miami did blow it up a little bit at the trade deadline. They got rid of some pieces, so obviously their offense was going to decline naturally. But yeah, over the last 30 games, 25.2% strikeout rate. Walks per strikeouts, 0.3, which is 23rd, which actually a little bit improved over their season total. But the moral of the story being that their batting versus right-handed pitchers, actually their batting average has actually been pretty high over the last 30 games, but the strikeout rate's been really high, which obviously fares really well for us. Also, that doesn't make anything different. If that didn't change your mind on this prop, it's also his birthday. It's Taijuan Walker's 32nd birthday, so you got a player coming off injury on his birthday. Favorable matchup. Data is on his side, including the last 2 times he's faced off with Miami. He's cashed the over. 4 strikeouts. I know he's probably not going to pitch a ton of innings. Hopefully he goes 5. I think if he goes 5 innings, we could be okay. His strikeouts per 9 is 7.3. So, kind of tough there. But birthday prop here. Got to go ahead and take it for plus money. Do like the prop a lot. All right, guys, halfway point, our 4th prop in today's slate. We're moving on to the Rangers-Red Sox game, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Corey Seager of the Rangers over 1.5 total bases. You can get this on DraftKings for -145. Also available on Bet365 and FanDuel for varying odds. This prop, obviously, this is the first non-plus money play of the day. The odds are actually pretty high on this one, and for good reason. You see Corey Seager cashes over in 7 of his last 10 games, an average of 3.5 total bases per game, including last night versus the Red Sox. He had 5 total bases, and what was a 5-4 loss for the Rangers. Overall, in 2024, just a 45% hit rate for Corey Seager. 48 out of 106 games this year, he's cashed the over. An average of 1.39 total bases per game, though. That is pretty good. And look at the head-to-head data here. 6 of his last 10 games versus the Red Sox, including 4 of his last 5, he's cashed the over. He's played the Red Sox 4 times this season, including last night. 3 out of 4 games, so a 75% hit rate this year versus the Red Sox. He had some pretty good games versus Boston. The only time he missed it this year was on August 3rd. It was a 7-4 win for Texas. He only had 1 base in that win for the Rangers. And going down below, it's not the best match of all time for Corey Seager, but he has had some success off of Cutter Crawford. You see 9 plate appearances dating back to 2018. 500 batting average off of Crawford, 1.25 slugging percentage. But you see here 4 hits, 10 total bases, 2 extra base hits. He's had some success hitting off of Cutter Crawford this year. That much is for sure. I shouldn't say this year. I meant since 2018. But you get the moral of the story is Corey Seager of late has had success hitting off of Cutter Crawford. Looking down below, Corey Seager, 277 batting average so far this year overall. Versus right-handed pitchers, you do see an increase to 292. His BABIP, a slight drop to 280. But his ISO increases and his extra base hit percentage tops off at 40%. Versus right-handed pitchers, which is obviously really good for us here. And looking at Cutter Crawford, the data is not fantastic in our favor, but there is still some key points to look at. His ERA does increase to 4.70 versus left-handed batters, which is obviously good. His batting average allowed just 2.27, which is actually pretty good for Cutter Crawford. That number does decrease to 2.18, which obviously isn't good for us, but kudos to Cutter Crawford, who's having a pretty decent season for the Sox. As a Sox fan, I just had to point that out. Slugging percentage, 435. That does increase slightly to 440. And the extra base hit percentage is at 43.6 allowed versus left-handed batter. So that's pretty high. Again, Corey Seager's had some success. He's had some extra base hits off of him. I see 10 total bases and 4 hits. Pretty good numbers there for Corey Seager. Really solid matchup for -145. I will absolutely take it. All right, guys, and for our 5th prop of today's slate, I do have to go ahead and switch the screen here because our 5th prop of the day is the underdog pick of the day. That's right. Here on the Guy Boston Sports YouTube channel, we are partnered with Underdog Fantasy. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. They are absolutely fantastic, and Underdog Fantasy and Guy Boston Sports are bringing you a very special offer. We have a link down below, or you can use promo code GUYBOSTON, and Underdog Fantasy will match your first deposit up to $250. That's right. You heard that correctly. If you use our link down below or promo code GUYBOSTON, Underdog Fantasy will match your first deposit up to $250. Really fantastic offer, but they don't stop there. They're also offering you guys a special pick as well as matching that first-time deposit on Underdog. So you can't really go wrong there, guys. Underdog offers a lot between daily fantasy sports, sports betting, all this stuff. Underdog provides a lot of fun options for you guys, and they're giving you free money to go ahead and make more money. You can't really beat the offer, guys, so go ahead and take advantage of that. And to honor our partnership with Underdog, I am doing the Underdog pick of the day, which today we're going to go back to that Red Sox-Rangers game. Because speaking of Cutter Crawford, our Underdog pick of the day is Cutter Crawford under 5.5 hits allowed. We're getting this on Underdog for -150. Shout out to Underdog for providing those great odds. And yeah, data is pretty solid. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the under here, an average of 5 hits allowed per game. Over the last 20 games, 55% hit rate. 11 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under. So far in 2024, a 61% hit rate on the under, 14 out of 23 games this year, with an average of 4.96 hits allowed per game. Now, the head-to-head data, because I have to be transparent with you guys, it's not great. Just one of his last 3 games, he cashed the under, including the one time they played it last just a couple weeks ago. He had 6 hits allowed in what was a 11-6 win for the Red Sox, an average of 5.67 hits allowed per game versus Texas. However, the matchup is really good. I know he did give up 6 hits in their last game versus the Rangers. It was a big offensive game in general. You saw it was a 17 total runs scored between the Red Sox and Rangers that game. But the matchup's honestly pretty solid. You see Texas batting versus right-handed pitchers. So far overall, they're ranked 20th, bottom 10 in the league at 235. But over the last 30 games, they've actually been a lot worse at 215, which is actually ranked 28th. That's bottom 3 in the league. in batting average versus right-handed pitchers over the last 30 games. They've got a pretty low strikeout rate, although that also has increased in our favor. Their BABIP is the worst in the league at 241. So overall, pretty good. You look at Cutter Crawford's stats, 227 batting average allowed. That's the 73rd percentile, 91st percentile in BABIP, 67th percentile in strikeouts, 23.1%. Also, alternate point, his over in strikeouts, not a bad option as well. I know we have 8 props handing out today, but if you're looking for a 9th one, his over in strikeouts isn't a bad line either. Even though I know the Rangers' strikeout numbers aren't great, he's gone over most of the time this year. But again, overall, really good numbers across the board here. So I know the last time they played, literally just a couple weeks ago, it didn't go great, but I do like the spot overall for Cutter Crawford here. I think he's going to catch the under tonight versus Texas. So that is the underdog pick of the day. One more time, shout out to Underdog for partnering with us for today's video. And again, one more time, guys, you can use the link down below or promo code GUYBOSTON. They will match your first deposit up to $250 and give you a special pick. Thank you one more time to Underdog Fantasy. Whew. All right, guys, 3 props left in today's video, more than halfway there. Our 6th prop in today's slate, we're moving on to the Yankees-White Sox game, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Aaron Judge here, over 1.5 total bases, available on Bet365 for -110, DraftKings -115, and FanDuel for -130. Aaron Judge has cashed the over in 6 of his last 10 games with a 60% hit rate, with an average of 2.7 total bases per game. He did cash this last night versus the White Sox. It was actually a shocking 12-2 win for Chicago. He had 3 total bases in that loss for the Yankees. Last 20 games, 60% hit rate, an average of 2.9 total bases per game, practically the same numbers. So far in 2024, a 52% hit rate on this over for Judge. 61 out of 118 games this year has cashed the over, with an average of 2.48 total bases per game. And the head-to-head data is pretty solid. 5 of his last 7 matchups versus the White Sox, he has cashed the over at 71% hit rate, with an average of 2.86 total bases per game. He's played Chicago 4 times this year. He's cashed the over in 3 out of 4 games, a 75% hit rate. The only miss was on May 18th. He had just 1 total base, and what was a 6-1 win for the Yankees. Look, guys, it's Aaron Judge. The Yankees lost by 10 runs yesterday. I think he's due for a big game. His home run prop, and also probably not a bad option. Actually, let's just go ahead and take a look at that real quick. For Judge to hit a home run is currently sitting at, let's see what sportsbook's available. Plus 210, plus 200, plus 176, plus 175, prize picks plus 100. Honestly, you guys looking, I've given out, this is not on the official record. This is not on the official record. I love the props today, guys. Not a bad one. Honestly, just throwing it out there. If you guys are looking for a nice home run prop just to kind of have a little action today, Aaron Judge home run, really not a bad choice here. But let's go back to the total bases prop that we have. And so, yeah, sticking with this one. But again, you guys looking for a little, another, if the 3+ money plays weren't enough, there's a 4th plus money play to go ahead and try out for yourself. It won't be on my official record, but just giving you guys a little extra knowledge. Not a bad prop there for Aaron Judge. But going down below here, the key matchup stats. We don't have any pitching stats for Chicago, for Cannon. Not really a lot to go off of, although you see 2-5 record in 2024, 3.91 ERA, 76 innings pitched, not bad. But for some reason, we don't have the actual splits down below. But Aaron Judge this year, 329 batting average overall. He's batting 337 versus right-handed pitchers. And I know you see a lot of red, but his BABIP is literally the same number at 382. His ISO drops to .005 to 365. And his extra base hit percentage is not even a 1%. It's 49.1. It's like, what, 1.6 lower. So, still really good numbers overall. I think Judge is going to have a pretty good night. I think we could see a home run coming our way tonight for Judge. Actually, screw it. We're going to make it 9 props, guys. We're going to go ahead and add this, and you can go ahead and shop around the best odds available. We're going to add this to the official record. I just like Aaron Judge to hit a home run tonight. I really do. I think he's due for it against a shitty White Sox team that somehow crushed them yesterday, which obviously, as a Red Sox fan, warms my heart. But I think Judge is going to have a really big game tonight. And although the data, home run data is never going to be great because it's home runs. He's cashed in 3 of his last 10 games. 33% hit rate this year. That just means he's in 33 games this year he's hit a home run, which obviously is really good. He's averaging .36. The data for home runs is never going to be fantastic because home runs don't happen as often as other picks. But yeah, I just think he's really due here for a home run. So it's another plus money play. It's a 9th pick. Maybe I'm stupid for adding it to the official record, but we're adding to the official record. So there's 9 picks in today's slate, not 8. Apologies for that. But yeah, so we're going Aaron Judge over 1.5 total bases and Aaron Judge over half a home run. All right, guys, for our 8th prop, was originally our 7th prop. Our 8th prop for tonight's slate. I never even do home runs props either, but like I said, I really like that spot there. We're moving on to the Blue Jays-Angels game, 9:38 p.m. first pitch. We're going George Springer here, under 1.5 total bases. Available on Prize Picks, Bet365, and on Underdog. One more time, shout out to Underdog there. Pretty good numbers here. George Springer's cashed the under in 8 of his last 10 games, an average of 1.1 total bases per game. Over the last 20 games, also an 80% hit rate. 16 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the under, an average of 1.35 total bases per game. That 110 base game back on July 21st really does skew that number there, because otherwise he's really cashed the under consistently, and he only had a couple hits where not a lot of bases. That 10 base game really did skew the numbers in his favor. So far in 2024, a 69 nice percent hit rate for George Springer, 76 out of 110 games this year. He's cashed the under, an average of 1.36 total bases per game. And the head-to-head data, 83% hit rate, 5 of his last 6 games versus the Angels. He's cashed the under, including each of his last 4 matchups. He has not played them yet this year. This is the first meeting between Toronto and LA this year, but the recent data from last season, pretty good. So yeah, really fantastic data across the board on this prop here. And George Springer has failed to exceed 1.5 bases in 8 of his last 9 games. 0.9 bases per game average. We already saw that. Not really a lot to go off here. 1 plate appearance versus Carson Fulmer. He did not get a hit, though, so that is something to keep in mind. But again, extremely small sample size. Springer's batting .221 this year. You do see his numbers across the board do increase versus right-handed pitchers, but there's slightly increases. You see his average goes to 235, BIP 264. His ISO and extra base hit percentage, very slight increases. But in the place of Carson Fulmer, you do see his ERA drops to 341, really good. His batting average allowed 198 versus right-handed batters, really, really good. Slugging percentage goes down. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that 44% extra base hit percentage allowed is a little concerning, especially when you see George Springer, 34.7% extra base hit percentage for him. That's the only area where I'm a little bit concerned, but again, the data is too fantastic on this prop to avoid it. And the matchup's pretty solid. It's not like he's a pitcher with a 290 batting average allowed. It's 198 versus right-handed batter. So really good numbers there. Really solid prop for -120 on Underdog. Yeah, really solid prop. All right, guys, our 9th and final prop of today's video. Our 5th, it was only 4, but now 5 plus money plays, the most plus money plays I've ever given out. This is either going to be an absolute disaster or again, steak and lobster. 5 plus money plays are our 9th and final play of the day. We're going Braves Giants, 9:45 p.m. first pitch. We got Marcell Ozuna over 1.5 total bases. You can go ahead and get that for +125, +115, +110, or +107 across varying sportsbooks. Recent data is solid. 7 of his last 10 games, he cashed the over, an average of 2.7 total bases per game, including 6 consecutive games he actually cashes over. So far in 2024, a 50% hit rate for Marcell Ozuna. You see 59 out of 118 games this year. He's cashed the over, an average of 2.22 total bases per game. The head-to-head data, not fantastic. Just 3 of his last 10 games versus the Giants, he cashed the over. But last night, playing the Giants in a 1-0 win for the Braves, he did have 3 total bases just last night versus this same Giants team. So the head-to-head data is not fantastic. The insights provided by Outlier. Marcell Ozuna has exceeded 1.5 bases in 4 of his last 5 games on the road, an average of 3 bases per game over that span. And yeah, looking at the key matchup stats against Kyle Harrison, the matchup's really, really solid. Marcell Ozuna's batting .302 overall this year, but versus left-handed pitchers, you do see a massive increase to 343. His BIP from 341 to 448, whopping. ISO, you do see a drop from 289 to 225, and his extra base hit percentage does take a drop to 37.1, but still, 37.1 is not bad. And looking at Kyle Harrison, 4.08 ERA goes up to 4.21. His batting average is literally the same. I know it shows green, but it's the same thing, 2.58. His slugging percentage, 4.27. So slight increases really across the board, minus the batting average, which is the same. And the extra base his hit percentage, 38.3. But overall, really solid matchup here. It's not bad. 2.58 batting average allowed. Pretty decent slugging percentage, 38.3 versus 37.1. They match up pretty well. There's no head-to-head data versus Kyle Harrison for Marcell Ozuna, but for plus money, again, the data is too good not to at least take the risk here. So one more plus money play. We're feeling lucky today. We woke up feeling dangerous, I guess, with all these plus money plays. But that is the final prop of today's slate. Woo! I'm about to make a name for myself here today. Shout out Deadpool Wolverine. 9 picks. This was a long video. We got through it though. You and I, it was an experience. We all got through it together. I don't know if I'll do this many picks again. That was a lot. But 9 picks, real quick. Alex Bregman over 1.5 total bases. Therese Skubal over 7.5 strikeouts. George Springer under 1.5 bases. Taijuan Walker over 3.5 strikeouts. Happy birthday, Taijuan. Corey Seager over 1.5 total bases. Cutter Crawford under 5.5 hits allowed. Aaron Judge over 1.5 bases. Aaron Judge over half a home run. And Marcell Ozuna over 1.5 total bases. Yes, sir. That's right. This link for the picks will be in the pinned comments, so you guys can easily go ahead and follow along. But guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much for watching this extended video. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Shout out to Outlier and Underdog for partnering with us for today's video. Until tomorrow, we're back with another MLB Player Prop video. I hope you're all winners, everybody. Have a fantastic day.